Speaker will be Amy Blackburn from the Career Services, and she will be presenting now.
Yep, that's great. Are you there at Jordan Lake?
No, this isn't Jordan Lake. It's a neighborhood probably about an hour south, maybe.
Okay. Okay. Well, beautiful. And I am not here at UCS. I mean, on campus. I look like I am right there. I got the library behind me. But I want to thank you all for attending. And I just want to provide some general information about what we do at University Career Services. I think you all are going to be hearing from my colleague, Chloe Benjamin, at another point to hear more about some other things that we do at UCS, maybe something more specific. I can't remember if it's LinkedIn or resumes but anyway, we do a lot of that. So let me go ahead and start by sharing my screen. And, I should probably not share it yet. I think I have to. I'm still, after all these months doing this, and I still need to learn how to use it. So crazy. All right, now I'll share my screen. Okay, so what we're looking at here, can you all see that okay?
Yes.
That's a screen that says begin your UNC journey with career services. Yep. Okay. So basically want to walk through this slide deck with you a little bit. So our mission, and this is something that we have sent also to admitted students. So I don't know, maybe some of you, if you're first year students, have seen this before, but if you're not, or have not participated at UCS in the past, just want to make sure you know a little bit about us. So when we're back on campus, we're there in Haynes Hall. So on Polk Place, next to the Hussman School of Journalism, kind of behind Memorial Hall. But we are 100% virtual right now. Looks like we're going to be that way. Just heard from our director. We're going to go ahead and do it the whole 9 yards. So we're going to be at home and doing this virtually through the end of the semester. But our mission is to help students clarify and achieve their career goals. So that's pretty broad, right? Which is true. We help you all the way from first year or even as an admitted student all the way through to graduation and beyond. So we really want to stay connected with you. We feel that UCS this is why you're here at UNC. This is why you're going and getting your college degree, is to prepare you for after graduation. So that's why we're here, is to help you figure that out. And I'm going to make sure I see that. I don't know if anyone. Oh, yeah, that's just a thing. If you have questions, drop them in the chat. Thanks. And if someone could kind of monitor chat, I can't seem to do both things at once for some reason, but we'll try. So again, we serve all students at UNC, a lot of undergrads, but we do serve a lot of graduate students as well. So if you know of graduate students who are kind of uncertain about what they want to do after graduation or need help with writing a CV, that kind of thing, please send them our way. And even though I will also say, even though some of our departments have career counselors, you still get support from us. So your fees pay for that. So if you're an undergraduate in public health, or an undergraduate in the School of Business, or an undergraduate in the Hussman School, or where else do you have support? I think maybe School of Pharmacy might have a little support. You might get a little support in the nursing school. We help all of you. So know that your fees are paying for this. And so again, when you're talking with your residents, make sure they're aware that fees pay for a lot of things that happen on campus. And I know Don might be talking about that with regard to the Writing Center too, right? So make sure you take advantage of it because you're paying for it. We want you to know how we help you. So we use a couple different frameworks. One is the Career Readiness Framework, and we've pretty much adapted this Career Readiness Competencies Framework from our National Association of Colleges and Employers. So it's a professional association that supports career counselors, and recruiters, employers. So we all work together on this. But these are the kinds of competencies that we're hoping you leave Carolina with. So we've got creativity and problem solving, communication, professionalism and work ethic, technical applications, global perspective, career management, leadership, and teamwork and collaboration. And so we look at all these things as we help prepare you for how do you want to describe those to a potential employer or a graduate program, and like help you think through how you've achieved these kinds of competencies through the time that you're here. And competencies, these are all competencies that are transferable. So it doesn't really matter which degree area you're in. Even if you're not a computer science major, technical application may still apply to you. Even if you're not a global ed major, global perspective will still apply to you. Communication, definitely across the different fields. So be thinking about how these things may play in. And these are the kinds of things that we're going to help you figure out how to describe on your resume or CV, in your cover letter, in interviews, on your LinkedIn profile, all sorts of different ways. Another framework we often use, and I don't know if you've heard of this one, is Carolina Excellence. This is a framework that is kind of more specific to student affairs. Student affairs has talked about these kinds of things. We look at these three areas within, it's a 4-area competency framework, and we look at these three very specifically. So dynamic learning. So again, critical thinking is another area of readiness that we want you to be prepared in your personal growth, and that's what we're trying to help you achieve. So self-awareness, and we do that through a lot of different ways, different assessments and things like that. And then community engagement. So thinking about organizations that you can join. Now, we know that during COVID, it's often harder to achieve some of these kinds of things like, well, not so much public service, maybe a little bit, but the community engagement piece. And so it's great that y'all are back on campus in a lot of ways in the residence halls. And so good on you for being here to do this presentation or listen to this presentation and be part of this group. There are a number of groups that are going on right now. A lot of them are virtual. And those are things that you can do both here on campus, but also off campus. So the beauty of some of this technology and the beauty of, if we try to think of COVID in a positive light, you are able to interact with people more than maybe you had in the past, just in a different way, right? So maybe having some access to internet in this way may open your eyes to other ways that you can connect with people. But all of those things are important. So I also want to introduce you to some of the people that work in our space. So like I said, typically we're in Haynes Hall on the 2nd floor and the 4th floor. So on the 2nd floor, we have our counseling suite of counselors. We have some executive, administrative type folks. We have some front desk people. We have our career peers. And those are undergraduate students. I'm going to actually showcase a few of them today, but those are undergraduate students who've been specially trained to work with other students on resume writing, on cover letter writing. So kind of similar to what you do at the Writing Center, except that your field in the Writing Center is more looking at the writing piece. We're looking about how does that writing then, how is that tailored very specifically in the career space? So we have the knowledge of the career information that can help with the tailoring of it. So I think both of our systems or support systems can be helpful to you, but just in different ways. So that's on the second floor. We have all those people. And then on the fourth floor, we have our recruitment suite. We have a staff member who works up there to welcome the recruiters. We have different events that go on up there. Right now, everything has been online. And so it saves the employers a little money, perhaps, but they also can do other kinds of things to outreach to you. And so I'm going to show you some other resources that we have to kind of help you with connecting with employers. But that's basically how our people work at UCS. You might have actually read, we have an article that just came out in the DTH. Our executive director, temporary executive director, was talking about some of the challenges we're facing during COVID to make sure that we're still able to support you as best as we can. You're our number one client, and we really want to help you be successful after graduation. So never fear, we're still around. This is something you might think about when you're talking with some of your students in the residence halls. It's kind of a 4-year plan. So it's another approach that we try to use in kind of mapping this out for you. So we've got the competencies, and then we have this 4-year plan. So in the first, and it doesn't mean that you have to follow this to the letter, that if you're a senior and you're just getting started with us, that you can't come and do self-assessment. We're absolutely open to that. We're just trying to provide some framework for you, either as you work with your residents or for yourself as a student. So in the first year, we're looking at self-assessment, kind of mapping out what are some of your interest areas. If you know what you want to major in, that's great. And we can help you think about, okay, why is that true for you? And how can you build your skill set as you go through your 4 years at Carolina and in the summers too. Or it might be, I don't know what I want to major in. We see a lot of those too. And so the self-assessment piece can really help with that. We actually give our pre-first year students, our admitted students, access to Focus 2. I don't know if any of you have used that, but Focus 2 is a tool that is online. It will look at interest, values, skills, and personality, and comes up with some potential majors or some potential careers that might be a good fit for you. Then the second layer in your second year is we recommend some career exploration. So again, you could still go backwards if you need to, but career exploration could be another way to kind of continue through. So you're thinking about, all right, I've done these assessments. These are sort of the things that I think I want to learn more about, and I want to get some experience in them, or I want to talk to some people who've done these kinds of things. We do have this great resource called What Can I Do with This Major? It's one of my favorites that I share with students to kind of show them the breadth of things that they can do with the different majors that we offer here at UNC. Then in the third year, we're looking at gaining more experience through that career exploration, specifically more in experiential learning. Again, you can do experiential learning in your second year or the summer between your second year and your third year, even after your first year. I've talked with a number of first year students who are interested in finding an internship or a summer job to help them explore. But we kind of frame experiential learning in third year here to kind of give you some sense of that. So we work with students on figuring out what are some good resources, how do I write that resume, how do I write that cover letter, how do I connect with recruiters or alumni who might be able to help me find a opportunity so that my resume looks good when I get to my fourth year. And so fourth year is really when you're thinking about that postgraduate planning. And you're thinking about brand A, or option A, option B, plan A, plan B, right? How you build your professional brand. What are you going to do after Carolina? Negotiation. So maybe you get an offer or two and you're trying to figure that all out. We help with that piece. We help with thinking about grad school as well, law school. So planning all of those things. And again, it doesn't have to happen in this kind of regimented way, but this provides a little framework for you. So let's go through these really quickly. Year one, focusing on self-assessment. This is one of our career peers. I'm going to send the slide deck to you all so you can read this in more detail. I'm not going to go through this in its entirety because I feel like I've already kind of covered these things. But what I would say, and I hope you say this to your residents as well, your first year residents, that you want to start by just getting acclimated to UNC. I will say, COVID has really put a problem in that, right? Because we had first year students who were kind of had to leave their residence halls, had to figure out, do I go back home or can I find a place? And so as resident advisors or, other folks who work in through RHA, it's going to be really important for you to kind of understand how to support these first year students and getting acclimated to UNC. They may have to be doing that as a sophomore as well, because things are different. And so kind of catching up with some of that, getting to know their professors. Handshake, I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. That's our platform we use. I want to make sure I need to look at my time here. Okay, we're good. Handshake is the system we use for posting jobs and internships. So starting to get that created and follow along with that. If you haven't used it yet, make sure you get on it and we will be happy to show you how to use that. We have a class that's called EDUC 111, and that's a really good class for first years and sophomores. So I recommend that one. And we have a number of workshops, fairs. This week is actually our career fair week, all virtual fairs, a lot of panels, meetups, different things we're doing. We're still doing those, but they're virtual. We even have some ideas of things you can do during the summer. So year one is you're focused on self-assessment. Year two, we're looking on career exploration. So talking with people, enrolling again in EDUC 111 for first years or second years. I will say first semester, first year is really hard to get in that class, but it opens up a little bit after that. We have a number of our resume templates right now have kind of moved into one of the systems we use called Vault. A lot of resources that you all are paying for through your fees. So some of these resources are things that we may have kind of in our back pocket we can send to you if you're working with us one-on-one, but there are also a lot of resources online. I know the Writing Center has some great resources online that they've used. I refer to that all the time for different things. Getting involved in organizations, right? Very important stuff. Third year, focusing on your experiential learning, again, different things they can do, getting involved with leadership, maybe within an organization. So not only do we offer the 111 class, but we also offer a 211 class. The 211 is for juniors and seniors. And that's the class that I'm teaching I love that class. I love teaching that class. There's somebody in the RHA that I've worked with a little bit who took that last semester. So I highly recommend it. I think she liked it a lot. And we still stay in touch. So it's a good class. I recommend it. And it really will help you kind of walk through what you need to know to, hate to say it, to leave Carolina. Because we feel that your first job is not your last job. And so as much as we can provide you with the learning that you need to be prepared when you leave Carolina, you will be ready to handle any situation that may come your way when you're making a job change or once you get out of grad school, that kind of thing. And then fourth year, again, working through Handshake. So that you want to have access to all 4 years, researching job opportunities early, apply to a lot of positions. We can help you with that, thinking about that. Oh gosh, no, battery's running low. 211 again. And then the end of, toward the end, well, actually in the fall, I guess, of your senior year, late fall, early spring, we have a first destination survey we like to have you complete to help us understand where people are going. And that way you will also be able to, I find my plug in case I need it. You will also be able to learn about the opportunities that might be available to you. Uh-oh. Okay. Sorry, guys. I don't know what just happened. So my next piece, oh shoot, now I'm plugged in up there. Okay. Piece is, I know, statistics. So let's take a look at that real quickly. We've got some outcome, and this is from that first destination survey. So 54% of our graduates are working after graduation. 38.41% are continuing education. And then we have all these little bits. We've got some that are still looking at graduation. We've got some not seeking for various reasons, some in the military, some who are choosing to do some volunteer. That volunteer and working thing can sometimes be kind of similar. So volunteering might be things like Peace Corps, that sort of thing. And then we have some data here, internships held by graduating cohort. So the majority, I'm trying to figure out what this means. I think the majority here is like junior, right? Junior, sophomore. Honestly, I don't. Oh, this is the first, I got it. So 0 years, 1 year is the dark blue. Maybe it's the number of internships held. That's it. None, 36.31%. High, right? So you can still get jobs if you don't have an internship, but it's better if you have experience. The majority of people have at least one internship. These are the kinds of places that typically hire. So we collect a lot of data here. We have an employer relations team that works with our employers and collects that sort of data. I'm on the student leadership team, so I work with the student services team, I guess, and counseling team. We help with working one-on-one and in groups with students. All right, Handshake. I mentioned this a few times. Real quickly here. If you're not on Handshake, you need to be on Handshake. Go on our website. It's careers.unc.edu. Click on the Handshake button, and then you can see this. So we have a lot of jobs and internships posted here. This is the platform that we use. We can help you kind of figure out how best to use it. So, recommend that the student either, or you, come in and talk to a counselor or meet with a peer. You might upload some information in there because this is what the employers are going to look at, and you can apply to jobs through this system. It's also where we post information about our career fairs. And like I said, this week is the career fair week. And we're doing everything virtually this week through Handshake, as a matter of fact. So takeaways. Again, our mission is to help you, help students clarify and obtain their career goals. We want you to start as soon as possible, which is why we send information out to admitted students. And we're constantly sending things out. So please be on the lookout for it. I know you get a lot of email. We're trying to figure out better ways to do that. It's a challenge. It's a challenge. Students who start earlier and are more prepared have more options and make better choices regarding their career. So encourage your first year students. But if you have a graduating senior or you are a graduating senior, don't delay, come in, let us help you out. Please come see us. And that's it. So that's what I got.
Thank you so much, Amy, for the wonderful overview. It was highly informative, and everyone in this room found this very informative. Thank you so much again.
Good, you're welcome. So I'm going to stick around, but I might plug in. So
yeah, thank you. All the contact information will be shared with you all after the workshop and also in the chat for you to ask further questions for UCS. But also feel free to submit any questions you have. In the end of the session, there will be like 15 minutes for Q&A for you all to ask any specific questions you have. Luna, would you introduce our next guest speaker?
Oh yeah, so this is Don Holmes. He's from University Writing Center, and today he will introduce us the resources on University Writing Center and how to utilize them.
Hello, everyone. Again, thank you, Amy, for all the tags that you pulled into the Writing Center. One of the things we definitely do recommend some of the students we see at the Writing Center who are working on curriculum vitas, resumes, or thinking about jobs. We help them, of course, with the writing, but we also do tag to the University Career Services for help. So there is that crossing of the student support services. Thank you for the introduction. I'm Don Holmes, and I am a graduate writing coach at the UNC Writing Center, and I'm going to just show you all a little bit about sort of what we do at the Writing Center here, but not that particular screen. This screen. So I'm assuming that some of you have already visited us at the Writing Center at some point. So for some of you, this may be repetitious in the sense that you've already kind of experienced some of these things. But what we do at the Writing Center, all of our coaches, whether they are undergraduate or graduate coaches, are trained basically on how to respond to students' writing and give really good feedback on how to improve different, parts of the writing or improve different ways of thinking about writing as well. But we work with students who are working on all kinds of writing. So your resumes and cover letters are definitely welcomed at the Writing Center, but your lab reports are also welcome. I'm in English, so I really love reading lab reports. Your anthropology papers or your chemistry papers, whatever it may be, any piece of writing, we take it and we work with you at the Writing Center. And you can visit the Writing Center at any point during the writing process. So you've just been given an assignment by your professor and you're like, I have no idea how to start. We can work with you on getting the ball rolling, or you are getting ready to submit your senior honors thesis, for instance, to a publication. For publication, we can help you with that as well. So from all the way from the idea that you have in your brain to the finished product, we can work with you at the Writing Center. So what typically happens at the Writing Center, we spend about 40 or 45 minutes in the actual writing coaching session. Usually the coach will introduce you to our services if this is your first time coming there, and kind of give you an outline of how the Writing Center works and what are some of the services we do offer. And then you will spend about 40 minutes in the session. We do read the paper aloud if you have writing. because it helps us get a sense of what you've written, and we can kind of talk about some of the things during both of our experiences in the writing coaching session. And for those of you who are interested, you can also come to the Writing Center as a group. So for instance, if there are a few of you who are RAs or who are working with the RHA in and of itself, who are trying to send out some literature to your peers, and you wanted to get some coaching on that, you can come as a group for that, or any of your other assignments as well that are group projects. Yeah, and so you come to the Writing Center, the 40 minutes in the session, and usually the coach will ask you, what are your goals for today's session? So some of those things could sound like, I want to work on conciseness. I want to make sure that I'm answering the prompt that my professor has given me. I want to check my citation sources and things of that nature. So whatever it may be, the coach will be able to help you with those things. And if they can't help you with those things, they'll figure out a way to get you the information that is necessary for you, or recommend another university service like the Career Services or the Learning Center, which I will talk about as well, because the Learning Center is our sister organization or sister unit. Right now, of course, as you all know, we are in what I call Zoomlandia. It's its own country and it's its own place. So we are on Zoom, but during the typical regular school years, we are housed in Sasby North, so you can meet us there. We're on the basement level in Sasby North, and then we're on the second floor of Greenlaw Hall, which is where my home department is also housed as well. So hopefully in fall 2021, we'll be back on campus and you all could come and visit us at the Writing Center in person. But there are a couple ways that you can kind of get feedback from the Writing Center. The first is to schedule a Zoom appointment with a coach. What you'll do is you'll go online, you'll see all the coaches' names there, and you can select one of the coaches to work with. If you are an undergraduate student, then you can work with any coach on the list. If you are a graduate student, then you are the only people that you'll have options for are the graduate students at the Writing Center. And so you make the Zoom appointment, the coach will actually send you their Zoom link. Usually, sometimes it may be an hour, no more than like an hour before your meeting, but no less than like 10 minutes before your meeting, and it'll come to your UNC email or whatever email that you use to sign up for the actual appointment. So make sure you do check that email. So for instance, if you did it with your Gmail, don't check your UNC email for that link because it'll be in your Gmail, but make sure you check both of those. If you don't like talking to people because you've already been on Zoomlandia all day, but you need feedback on your paper, we do have an option where you can submit a draft to the person who we call the online writing coach. And it's basically all of the writing coaches essentially claim one of the papers there, and then we read it and offer you feedback based on your concerns in an actual personalized letter to you. So we'll say, "Dear Luna, thank you for submitting your work to the Writing Center," and then it'll be a long letter about some of our experiences in your writing. But beyond those two things, the Writing Center services continues because we do have our tips and tools page, which a lot of students find very impacting and very useful. And not only is this material available to UNC students, but students from all over the world literally use our resources on our webpage. The UNC Writing Center is one of the most well-respected writing centers in the world. And I can say that confidently, not simply because I work there, of course, but because of our commitment to giving students useful feedback that they can use not only for one writing assignment, but for multiple writing assignments. And some of our most popular handouts have these little video signs next to them. And so they'll link you to videos where they are trying to explain the strategy a little bit more for you. And then we have a current blog series going at the UNC Writing Center, where you can go through and read different things that coaches are kind of thinking about as well. And then also other different strategies as well that you can find to continue enhancing your writing skills. Let's see, yeah. So, and that's the How I Write and Learn a blog. I should mention that we're also quite active on social media as well. So if you follow the UNC's social media, I think on Instagram, especially, you'll see short videos as well of coaches talking about different writing strategies there too. Now I will transition to kind of, oh, I'm sorry, one more thing. So we do have English language support, especially for our multilingual communicators who are either navigating and communicating in English as a second, third, or fourth language. I had a student one time, English was a fifth language. I was, of course, very impressed. And so sometimes it can be quite difficult, to think about how things are being used in contemporary American English or any of these different things. So we have additional resources for our English as a second language, multilingual students, and for myself included, anyone else who can use these different resources in their writing process. I use the Oxford English Dictionary all the time. So here's that list of information as well. And I should also mention that all of the Writing Center coaches are trained to work with multilingual students as well. So you can get feedback and support from that. And now for non-writing related concerns, we have the Learning Center, which is, as I mentioned to you earlier, our sister unit. So you often hear the Writing and Learning Center. Like the Writing Center, the Learning Center is of course online as well. So you can make a Zoom appointment, and they are in beta testing of kind of establishing an online response system. Was one of the people that kind of got tested through it, and it is very helpful as well. So they're still working through that one. But you can schedule a Zoom appointment, and what happened is that you will meet with a trained academic coach who will be able to help you kind of organize your time. That's one thing that they do at the Learning Center. They will help you give you study tips and study ideas. There's a major STEM support system at the Learning Center for those students who are in some of the STEM courses, and they can go there for help as well. The Learning Center also houses peer tutoring. And so you can go and get coached. I think they offer peer tutoring on I don't know how many courses at UNC, but it's a great deal of them, right? A lot of the undergraduate offerings, from English to chemistry to anthropology, perhaps to even some of the music courses, for instance, that you can take. You can go there. And they have also a tips and tools page. And it looks very similar to ours as well. And some of these, they have forms on it where you can, like, here's one for a goal tracker. You can go in and use this form to kind of establish your goals. And they have different videos as well. And they are also maintaining the blog just like we are at the Writing Center as well. And they also do different workshops and things of that nature throughout the year in terms of studying, time management, any kind of concerns about your academic life. The Learning Center can be very fruitful and very helpful for you in that regard. And I think that's it. Basically, going along what was already said, the Writing Center is engaged and willing to help students in the Learning Center in any point or process in their academic careers here at UNC. First year writers all the way to your final papers here at UNC, same way with the Learning Center. This help is here for you. This is a resource for you, and we love to see our calendars full with students during every shift. So don't hesitate to come by and visit with us.
Thank you so much, Don. That was really helpful. And I'll drop the contact information for both of our speakers and department again, and we'll move to Q&A sessions now. Luna, would you like to pull up the questions that was submitted during the session or before the session for Don?
Definitely. So there are 3 questions submitted. The first one is, can I make appointment with the writing coach? And this one is already answered during the presentation. So I'll just go to the next question. The next question is, what kind of writings does Writing Center help students to improve or proofread?
Yeah, so at the Writing Center, you can bring any piece of writing to get help with. So it can be something that is like a math paper, from a PhD student. I worked with a student on that kind of paper before. So it was a lot of numbers in it, as you can imagine, and them trying to explain these equations. Mind you, I'm not in math, but one thing that writing center coaches are trained is about the context of the writing, right? So is this idea clear? Does this idea explain the point that you're trying to make to you're trying to show to your reader? So it doesn't matter what type of writing it is. It can also be your personal writing. So creative writing that you're having to write. It can be a cover letter that you're having to use for a job and you want to get some feedback on the flow of it, the effectiveness of trying to explain who you are to these unknown people who you're sending this letter to, like all these different things. So it doesn't matter what kind of writing it is, the coaches can help you with it.
Thank you, Don. And another question is, what are some common mistakes students make when utilizing the Writing Center or submitting their drafts?
Yeah, so one of the, I guess I would say the common misconception is the Writing Center, we don't, go through your paper and edit it, or we don't go through your paper and, just point out all of the things that are quote unquote wrong in the writing. One of the things that we try to teach at the Writing Center is how to give you different types of skills and strategies that you can use on your own, right? And that you can continue practicing as a writer. I think we believe that writing is a skill and that it is a skill that is always going to be enhanced, right? I always tell people all the time that our most revered writers never wrote anything in one draft, right? It took them multiple drafts and multiple times to do it. And so we're trying to teach that writing is a process from draft to the finished draft. That's why we call it the finished draft. We never call it, this is the final thing, because we understand that these things can always be updated and improved. Yeah, so, but if you do come to the Writing Center, for instance, and you have a concern about, let's say, grammar, you only want to grammar is kicking my butt, and you want to read your paper specifically looking for issues in grammars, coaches will help you do that and show you different ways to proofread for those grammar issues that you have so that you can start to kind of acknowledge them in your own practice. But you can keep coming back to the Writing Center, of course, for more training and also to just help people to read your paper as well. One thing that we call it at the Writing Center is the reader's response as a goal. Some students who come to the Writing Center often and they work with a coach, you can have a coach that you often work with, for quite some time. And so that coach, would say, oh, you're just looking for a reader's response. And so you're just going to have a conversation about the writing in and of itself, which a lot of students really appreciate, getting what we call a second set of eyes on their ideas. Yeah.
Can I ask a question, Don? I know I get this all the time. How many appointments can undergraduates have?
Thank you. Yeah, I probably should have mentioned that myself. So undergraduates can make 2 appointments per week at the Writing Center. So, and that means that if you come to the Writing Center for a Zoom appointment with me, because you want to see my happy face again, right? So you're scheduled that appointment on Tuesday, and as an undergraduate, you can also make another appointment on Wednesday. You can't make 2 on Tuesday, of course. But here's the kicker with that 2 rule. If you have a Zoom appointment with me on Tuesday, and then you have an online, you submitted that same paper for an online for Wednesday, that counts as 2, right? And so you couldn't then schedule another Zoom appointment on Thursday or something like that. So that counts as 2. If you are a graduate student, then you can only come to the Writing Center once in a week as well. So, yeah.
Thank you for your answers to these questions, Don, and thank you for your presentations. I believe we all have learned from your presentations. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Did anyone have any questions about career services? I kind of went through a lot of stuff really fast. So let me know if there's
We had a
any.
few.
Okay, good.
So the first one is where can we find the focus? Also, or focus 2? I don't. Could you elaborate more how we can utilize this tool?
Yes. So can I share my screen? Let's see.
Yes, absolutely.
If do I even have? Here we go. I'm having issues with internet, but let's see. Can you all see this? It says the website you were trying to reach didn't work.
I'm so sorry to hear
Here
that.
we go. Let's try this. Can you see that? The careers.unc.edu. It's coming up. It's thinking. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. So the question, see, now I've already forgotten what your question was. Where is what?
I believe it was focus 2.
Focus 2. Okay. So under students, find almost anything there. So what I would do is look at exploring majors and careers. That's where I would go. Self-assessment, it talks about focus 2, it talks about the 111 class. Here's the link. Does have an access code. We also have this thing called Clifton Strengths, and that one is, I think it's better for older students. I really feel like the focus 2 is not as helpful for juniors, seniors, maybe even sophomores. It's not, only because I feel like it gives you way too many choices. And if you're a first year student, that's fine. Maybe an early sophomore, but once you get past that, you really start to need to narrow it down, and it can be overwhelming. And if you picked a major and then you get this whole list of things that you're not as interested in, you're going to feel a little bit out of sorts with it. So I feel like at that point, you know, talking to a counselor or a coach, career coach about it, looking at the Clifton Strengths Assessment, which is really focused on strengths. So any career can have any strength, and we can talk about how those strengths play out in the possible career choices that you have.
Okay, and last question. How do we set up mock interviews with career services?
So up here under appointments, okay. Click on appointments. That'll take you to this. The drop-ins are not for mock interviews. It's an appointment that you want to do. So you log in with your Onion. Oh, this will work, probably won't. I'll just show you how it looks. Oh, I don't know if that's going to work. I don't usually use IE, and so that's why I'm having issues. So now we're logged in. Now you got to visit Handshake. Oh my goodness. Sign on. So it's probably going to show me as, once you sign in, basically, it will not probably look like this, because this is my profile here as a, probably shouldn't have done this, because now you're going to be super confused. Whoop, let's go here. Oh, quiet down. Stop. Wah. Switch users. Okay, this is what you're going to see when you log in. You're going to see the students. Now, so you get logged into it. You kidding me right now? Okay. And then what you want to do is, I think it's under Career Center. Schedule appointment. So it takes a couple bits to go through it, but you could do the virtual distance appointment. I would go with the 60-minute. You can either do it by Zoom or by phone. So I guess it depends on the kind of interview you're going to have. If you want to practice a phone interview, you could do it by phone. But Zoom will allow you to do more like what we're doing right now with the virtual events. And you just follow through that. So it walks you through. It takes a little bit to get in there, but once you're in there, you're set. So sorry for that extra little bit of mess.